On July 25th, 2025, police responded to a neighbor dispute that had escalated to verbal confrontation. A neighbor identified as Samuel had been arguing with an elderly couple over a property line issue while carrying a saw. This case illustrates the intersection between civil property disputes and criminal disorderly conduct, as well as the challenges officers face when attempting to de-escalate neighborhood conflicts. The caller explains Samuel came to the property twice that day to argue about the property line, becoming verbally aggressive while holding a saw. When asked to leave, Samuel refused, prompting the call to law enforcement.
I'm the one that called.
Hi, baby. What's going on?
Well, come on up.
Get comfortable.
So, the neighbor who's over here had been over here twice today, and I witnessed. I witnessed it twice where he's over here cussing them out about property line issue. When he bought the house, apparently, when he bought that house 4 years ago, they asked permission to use a little piece of the back because they wanted to set. They have no backyard, basically. They wanted a place they could set, and they set. So then he decided he was going to put up a fence this year, and he told them he was going to run it right down off of their house. And they said, we don't have permission to do that. He showed him where the property line was, and then he was because he said, well, why is the property line there? It didn't need to be there. It's nothing to do with them. There's a property pin out there.
Mm-hmm.
But he was over here, and this time he was carrying a saw with him, and he spit at him and was flailing it around, and I decided to come over here, and I asked him to leave. And he said he wasn't afraid of my ass. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to argue with me. I just want you to leave. If you don't leave, I'm going to call the police.
Okay.
So I called the police. So as far as I'm concerned, he was threatening me at that point.
Him coming over here and just with her here and cussing up a storm.
Yeah.
After this and after that, and he did it, and Jesus Christ.
He was arguing with you guys over the property line.
Yeah, and he said we should have known it. And well, we did. We talked to him about it and got all that straightened out. But he's been back and forth, and he'll say something and get all wild again and try to talk to him. You can't whatever you say, you're wrong.
Okay. Do you have any arguments with him before? Or any issues with him before?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is, his ex-wife, who lives there, comes and mows their grass and helps them out.
They use our mower. This is when he said that we use his property. Well, we're using his property to mow his grass. That's where we was on his property. And of course, the issue back here is just to begin to spot, and they're not. That's fine to use. So, I mean, it's a long space.
Yeah.
They had a fence up along their backyard, and there was this open space.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him. He said when he moved in, he went over and stood in his living room, asked permission to use that space so they could put lawn chairs out there. And you can see what he did out there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, after 4 years, this guy says he wants to put a fence up there.
I told him, I said, I'll mow your yard. He said, do I want to pay you for it? I said, no, I don't pay you for it. Just a little yard here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I got to the place where I can't do it. And his wife come out and volunteered, or his ex-wife come out and volunteered to mow for me. So they used my mower and everything. And now he says he mowed it. You know, he mows it all the time, you know.
Well, just because he mows it don't mean it belongs to him.
Huh?
He said just because he mows it don't mean it belongs to him.
No.
Okay. Let me go over here and see what's going on with him, okay?
Okay.
Hey! Stop yelling! Why are you yelling at him? Okay, this is the whole reason we got called out here.
Cool.
What's the problem with the property line?
I went over to tell them where the property line was because I just saw it and found out on the auditor's website, and then that wasn't really received well, and then they offered to forgive me, which really pissed me off. But I'm like, you've been taking
So
the largest
it
portion of my yard.
Pissed you off that they offered to forgive you?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I see that you don't really understand that either. But I haven't done anything wrong.
Okay.
They were taking over a large portion of my yard and then offered to forgive me.
Okay.
Would that not bother you?
So there's two different stories here. They're saying
Yeah, but theirs is the incorrect one.
Okay, right, of course, always.
Awesome.
So they're saying
I
it's
don't know
their
why I'm
property.
talking to you. Isn't there someone else?
No, it's me.
Cool.
Okay. So you're gonna have to get a survey. Okay, because if it is on his property, he can tear it down.
I never said I would be terrible.
Okay.
Cool.
That being said, don't go over there anymore. Not sure why you're out here yelling and cussing anyway, right?
Saying the legal thing is to do
Right.
survey. I can tell you the way.
I don't really like talking to you.
I don't care if you like it or not.
I know, but you're just like genuinely unpleasant.
First thing you did when I walked up here is start screaming at them.
That's not true. If you feel like you have a strange definition of screaming,
That was the first thing you did when I walked up here to talk to you
screaming.
about it.
So you're going to qualify that as screaming.
So, right. So you're being warned for disorderly conduct.
Awesome.
There's no reason for you to be over there. Like he just explained to you, what you need to do is have it surveyed.
Have it surveyed. Legal document.
So the auditor's website isn't good enough?
The actual survey. Now, where we're getting involved is disorderly conduct. Screaming, hey, you have to mess across the property line, that's disorderly.
Yeah. So nobody did that.
You did this, I watched it.
No, I didn't. Did I say? I didn't say. You just implied.
You were screaming as soon as I walked up
You are
here.
wrong. What?
You were yelling
how
at him.
How do you qualify that as screaming?
Listen. You're
That's
being
not
warned.
screaming.
Listen, you're being warned for disorderly conduct.
Awesome.
Stop yelling at them.
I'm not yelling.
If we have to come back out here, you're going to be
Awesome.
charged. Do you understand that?
Great.
Come out. You're obviously handicapped, man. I don't want you to go to jail. Okay?
I've been there before.
I know. I don't want you to go to jail. Is it just a warning for disorderly?
Yeah, but I need his information.
All right. Samuel.
Sam what?
Samuel.
What's
I
his
don't know his date
social?
of birth. Good.
Yeah.
Hey. Madeline here?
Nope.
Just give me Madeline.
Yeah. We're done. He's been warned.
Probably be right there. If it's happening.
So, yeah, come back up here.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say. If you want to come over here because he's being the way that he's being, you can come over here. Try not to engage with him.
I
If
told
he
him.
does-
I didn't want to argue with him. I said, just leave. Or I'm going to call the police.
They have to tell him to leave because it's their
He did.
property.
He told him to
Okay,
leave.
perfect.
Several times.
So he's been warned for disorderly conduct. Okay? If he continues to yell or come onto your property, call us back.
That's what I just told him. I
Okay.
said, don't engage with him. Don't talk to him. Just call 911.
You know where the property line is.
No, we
If
don't.
you-
But we don't listen. We don't deal with the property lines, and he's been told that you guys are gonna have to have it surveyed because if not, and he does build a fence on your property, you can tear it down.
Well, the thing of it is you could go, I'm just saying, you could go back there and use fence where it comes this way. We'd pick a toe.
They can't really deal with that.
I know, but there's a stake right there, that's proper.
Yeah, he showed him the stake, and then the guy wanted to argue with him about where it's.
Well, see, when he bought the place, he just had bought the place, and I talked to him in the living room all over thing, and I told him I know where the we had 15 inches down the side of the house, and I said, could I just use that little corner for a picnic area, you know? And so I built that all in there, and put that fence all up and everything, and things.
It really improved them.
And so when he said he's going to put a fence up, so I decided, well, he's going to put a fence clear to the back of his property.
And he told us this morning.
I just started
that we could
moving
have
that
the
out.
fence
He's-
and take it down. So if he tries to say later that we ruined it to us, we told us so.
I have to go.
Yep, you're good.
because I'm going out of town.
You're
to go
good.
pray.
But
And,
like I told him, if he comes back
yeah,
or he
yeah.
starts yelling or anything like that, give us a call. We'll come back out.
And their son's coming over, I think.
Okay. Good deal.
And I'm just
Tell them not to go over there and start anything either.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any of them starting anything.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But if somebody was talking to you guys, if somebody's talking to my parents that way, I probably wouldn't be very happy about it either.
Right.
So,
And he asked me to come over here and make sure that nothing was
yeah.
happening.
No,
Well, you've
you're
been
fine.
looking out for me.
Yeah,
I've only been here 4 years in June,
Mhm.
and he's been watching out. I've taken him to the hospital and stuff, and I can't drive him.
All right. Like I said, if he comes back here, give us a call. He's already been
Thank
one
you,
once.
dear.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys have a good day, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
The elderly homeowner explains that 4 years earlier, Samuel granted verbal permission to use a small portion of his land for a seating area. This year, Samuel decided to install a fence on the official property boundary, eliminating their seating area. Verbal permission to use land does not create a permanent legal right. Samuel retains the right to revoke permission and use his property as he sees fit. However, the manner in which Samuel is asserting this right has created a criminal law issue. While property line disputes are civil matters, the officer's role focuses on the criminal aspect, the alleged threatening behavior and trespassing after being told to leave. The officer must assess whether Samuel's conduct rises to the level of disorderly conduct. Samuel states he discovered the property line through the county auditor's website. He claims the neighbors offered to forgive him, which he found offensive. Notice the officer maintains a conversational distance while staying alert to the saw mentioned by dispatch. The officer provides appropriate legal guidance. Property disputes require professional surveying. The county auditor's website does not constitute legal proof sufficient to take unilateral action. The officer's role is to address the disorderly conduct, not adjudicate the property dispute. Samuel focuses on semantics, arguing whether his behavior constitutes screaming or yelling. However, disorderly conduct statutes focus on whether the behavior is tumultuous, threatening, or creates public disturbance. The officer's combination of observations supports the disorderly conduct warning. Notice the de-escalation technique, issuing a warning rather than immediately arresting. The officer employs a tactical shift, becoming more personal and direct, telling Samuel he does not want him to go to jail. This demonstrates empathy while maintaining authority, connecting on a human level while making clear the legal consequences. The officer documents the warning by obtaining Samuel's information. The warning creates a formal record for potential future enforcement. This serves both as a deterrent and as evidence for potential prosecution if Samuel's behavior continues. The officer returns to the elderly couple to provide safety instructions. He advises them not to engage and to call police if Samuel returns. The officer correctly explains that police do not adjudicate property lines, and both parties will need professional surveying. The responding officer issued a disorderly conduct warning and successfully separated the parties without arrest. This demonstrates appropriate police response where civil property issues intersect with criminal behavior. The responding officer receives an A- because he effectively de-escalated a volatile situation, correctly distinguished between civil and criminal matters, and used appropriate warnings rather than arrest. He demonstrated tactical patience, legal knowledge, and genuine concern for preventing escalation. However, the officer loses points for allowing the conversation to become personal and for engaging in semantic debate rather than clearly explaining the specific elements of disorderly conduct. Despite these minor issues, his overall performance was strong. Samuel receives a D because, while he may have a legitimate civil property claim, his approach was aggressive, confrontational, and potentially criminal. Repeatedly confronting elderly neighbors while carrying a saw, using profane language, and refusing to leave transformed a civil dispute into a criminal matter. Samuel's focus on ego over conflict resolution demonstrates poor judgment. To his limited credit, he eventually complied with the officer's warning. However, his argumentative approach and refusal to acknowledge inappropriate behavior demonstrate an inability to distinguish between having a legal right and enforcing it through intimidation. The elderly couple receives a B+ because they handled an intimidating situation with appropriate restraint and sought help through proper channels. However, they lose points for constructing improvements on land they knew belonged to their neighbor with only verbal permission, which can be revoked at any time. The neighbor witness receives an A for excellent judgment. He intervened verbally, called police when Samuel refused to leave, and provided detailed factual information to officers. His conduct represents ideal neighbor intervention, protective, measured, and reliant on proper authorities. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out our second channel, Audit the Court, for even more police interaction and courtroom content.